I recorded this bad boy on Halloween and my hair bugged out again. For fuck's sake. Why is it that half the time my hair don't work? Poor Ivan. Anyway, last time we attacked the NPCs, we managed to conquer all of Paleto. Today, the Union of Slavic Socialist Republics continues the offensive. We will attack the outpost of the Rednecks, an NPC faction which we will treat as a third party in this conflict for NPC annihilation. Today, Ivan and Philip are joined by their pet Lithuanian who we adopted from the street. You can clearly tell they are professional soldiers and not untrained insurgents. We're not we kinda are, but okay, we're insurgents. We meet up at Maze Bank and obviously the trigger-happy Urot brings the cops over before dying, which results in a firefight that damaged our Vetir. Random pizdziec aside, we enter so I can explain the battle plan. We go in, shoot all the NPC rednecks and then hold out against enemy reinforcements coming from the law enforcement who are not paid enough for this shit. Simple enough. The Gopnik gang steals an ambulance like true Eastern Europeans and start heading out to the battlefield. We don't get there in one piece though, I wonder why. Ivan calls in glorious Żaba and picks up the peasants. The Żaba is a weird vehicle. It literally translates into frog for one thing. It handles weird and despite using what clearly aren't normal tires, it bounces around like a porn star's bachinga-chings. It can go on water and not drown like the rest of the Virgin vehicles. It can handle lots of missiles, but the glass window is only bullet resistant and not bulletproof. Obviously, the weirdness of this vehicle makes my comrades question its usefulness. It makes them ask questions like, what the fuck is this vehicle? And why does Vadim keep stealing butter from my fridge at 2:37 at night? And why didn't my dad come back from the supermarket he went to 10 years ago? However, we spend enough time in the vehicle that by the time we get to the USSR-controlled Paleto, my comrades have been convinced. It was probably the fact that we were chased by the police the whole way here and we're totally fine, but let's be honest, it's because it was me constantly repeating my arguments by uncontrollably saying the word Żaba the entire way here. It definitely convinced our pet Lithuanian because he joined in on the Żaba. Where we are going though, it's gonna be hard getting there in the Żaba's weird handlings, so I switch it up for the Dubsta, which is a nice off-road vehicle actually. We get there in the thundering night skies of Halloween, which really remind me of Chernobyl. We get to the gate and the redneck NPC starts firing at us. I know we came here to kill them and all, but this is just straight up giving us a valid reason to exterminate the NPCs from this region. And so the Halloween offensive begins, with the first shots being fired by the NPCs. After pummeling the tower with bullets and killing the debil who fired at us, we enter the wooden fort. Surprisingly, there weren't a whole lot of NPCs inside, so we actually clear it quickly. I yeet some Molotov cocktails to burn the houses down, who presumably hold more NPCs inside. We use the extra time to set up defenses at the gate. Wait, you actually believe me? Of course we didn't. We spent this time firing at inanimate buildings and wasting explosives on them. The cops finally come and we are not even manning the proper defensive structures of this place. I yeet some nades and kill some NPC cult, which never stood a chance against us really, for we are the superior player gamer race. Before another wave comes, I get the USSR scout car out of the entrance and get to a water tank tower thingy. This gives me a good canopy ground, which gives me a very nice advantage, as I can see the NPCs before they get through the gate. Now they are coming in and near the endless horde. The NPC assault begins. I got the fancy rounds for my glorious Kalashnikov, which in this Halloween night atmosphere is a really good aesthetic choice, not gonna lie. Comrade Philip joins me at the tower while our first comrade dies, our pet Lithuanian. Because of the fact no one is at the gate anymore, the NPCs finally penetrate inside. We start firing from top. Ivan comes down to retreat farther back as the NPC fire is too intense to withstand from both air and ground units. However, Philip decides to stay. I rain down indirect grenade launcher fire in a desperate attempt to massacre everyone at the gate, but it doesn't work out. I just noticed that the comrades are calling in air support from Meriwether, and Insurgency isn't supposed to have jet fighter airstrike support, cause we're not the goddamn American military bombing Arabian villages. We are insurgents, and the most terrifying thing we should own are rusty Kalashnikovs from Pakistan. I know those Urods are watching this, don't do it again. If anything, the NPCs should have our support. It will even the playing field nicely. Fortunately for us, none of them have phones in the 21st century. Ha, stupid. The fighting continues inside of the fort as the enemies bypassed Philip, who is being stalked by multiple helicopters and being pressed by the NPC assault. I retreat farther back. This is one of the last few defensible positions, but it's the only one I know of that has a roof and doesn't require me to run far. In the meantime, Philip moved over to the gate, presumably to hold off the zombie horde of NPCs at the gate while I clean up the mess inside of the fort. But hey, what's our pet Lithuanian doing? Remember when I said he died? Yeah, he respawned on top of the mountain, which is weird but gave him an advantage that the one and only Borat from Kazakhstan would consider as very nice. He's basically our sharpshooter support. Pest control over. Ivan goes to a rooftop with a decent view at the gate the enemies are entering through, and it got a chimney for cover. The sky by now has turned flaming orange as it's nearly daytime. This Halloween stuff is beautiful. The NPCs attempt an airdropping of troops behind our positions, but guess how it went for them after meeting an angry Slav with a Kalashnikov. I stay at the back for a bit and hold off the helicopters. Philip comes over to join me as by now he has managed to clear the gate. This assault conducted by the NPCs was a slaughter for them. They get massacred so bad they can't keep up with reinforcements, and as Ivan mans the gate, he stands unopposed. When the NPCs finally start trickling in, the combined firepower of both me and my comrade in arms are too much for the enemies to penetrate. Unfortunately, we can't be everywhere at once, and the NPCs airdrop some units behind us. Ivan leaves his spawns to deal with the pests. At this point, I run out of ammo for my Kalashnikov. What can one do in such a horrible situation? Take out your other Kalashnikov obviously, or the heavy Russian MG, whichever you prefer. The NPCs desperately try to break through our lines by sending in massive amounts of units, but a Gopnik with an 8-eater is more dangerous than a modern jet fighter. I go to the gate tower thing, where Ivan resumes the firefight. In the meantime, Philip has already returned to the water tank. Some brave NPC manages to run in, but that's as far as he gets. You can tell they're desperate. Philip dies by, I think, suicide, since there were a lot of boom bombs going on. Your boy respawns outside of the fort. I gotta say, the NPCs stopped trickling in so much, and now they're moving in as more coherent groups. They're doing a good job at suppressing Ivan. I abandoned the gate and moved to the water tank. The inferno skies have by now been replaced by the sunshine. Slowly but surely, I am running out of ammunition. You can see Philip slowly returning to the fort. Unfortunately for literally everyone, the final stage of the battle didn't record. Essentially what happened is an event started and we lost our wanted level. The cops didn't respond to us shooting at them either, and they literally just walked away. I gotta say, this is my favorite battle so far in this war. I had lots of fun. Let's sum up what happened from a bird's eye view. The Insurgency successfully took over the wooden fort from third-party NPCs who fired the first shot. Soon after, the normal NPC forces came and started besieging and assaulting USSR positions. The first storm of the NPCs is the most successful one, as the gate isn't manned and they enter freely. Their assault catches the Insurgency off guard as we aren't mobilized to defensible positions, and they manage to push Ivan all the way back, while Philip and our pet Lithuanian offer pockets of resistance. However, the casualties sustained by the NPCs become a major factor. They are unable to replenish all of the losses, and when Philip holds off the incoming waves at the gate, the NPCs inside are eventually wiped out. The Union of Slavic Socialist Republics regroups at the gate, where the NPCs are later unable to break through. Even despite the airdropping attempts behind the lines, they are unable to dislodge us from effectively defending the wooden fort. Some while later, after desperate attempts to get through, the NPCs finally give up on retreat. This marked a glorious day for the Insurgency as we managed to withstand the entire night and come out on top. Now, let's have a look at the casualties. The third-party NPCs have lost 6 rednecks. The normal NPCs lost 55 cops, with 12 I can't confirm, so we'll just call these as missing in action from now on. 47 news, with 6 missing in action, and 6 helicopters. The Insurgency lost 0 Gopniks, aka Ivan. That's right, he didn't die once. I'm getting good at this. 1 Urot, aka Philip, and 1 pet Lithuanian. Keep in mind that that's only what I managed to capture on my screen. The real losses are probably at least 4 or maybe even 5 times higher, since Yaboy Philip and our weirdly respawned marksmen were doing work. Now let's sum up the total losses of the war so far. 299 cops with 31 missing in action, 154 news with 9 missing in action, and 17 helicopters with 23 missing in action. 15 Gopniks total, 10 Urots and 1 pet Lithuanian. Where will the Insurgency attack next? What kind of bullshittery will happen then? Stay tuned for next week. Wait, why is week typed twice in the script? What the f-